Hello, my name's Fran Sands and this is myboxingcoach.com. I'm often asked online where, a peculiar question for me really, which knuckles do you think I should hit with? Should it be these two knuckles or these two knuckles or the centre two knuckles? Now I never get asked this face to face in the gym. It's a funny one, I think, but quite regularly online I'm asked this specific question. Now look, when you throw a punch, there are three main objectives, there are three responsibilities on you when throwing that punch. Number one, the punch is technically excellent. So you are driving from the feet, you're rotating the hips, you're doing everything under control, you're accelerating the arm, everything is precise and under control. Yeah, it's technically as good as it can possibly be. The second thing then, which is kind of related to number one, is that the punch lands. So that's really around range and range selection and selecting the right type of punch for the position you are in relation to your opponent. And then the third thing that you must, or third primary objective, is to minimize the risk of injury when you throw that punch. So in boxing we have lots of protection on the hands. We have wraps underneath and they cover the wrist as well. We have gloves that have, certainly in the open amateur boxing code, we have gloves that have lots of padding up front here and good support around the wrist. So we're in a good position as boxers. So the relevance of whether it should be two knuckles or that knuckle or this knuckle inside a big boxing glove feels a little bit like saying the colour of a car has anything to do with how fast it can go, excuse me. So look, when a punch is thrown, when you are going to throw a punch, aim to land with the full face of the fist, okay? Can't be any more simple than that. Something that is really important though, is the alignment of these bones with these bones, these two bones and these bones of the hand. Now, if that alignment is either up or down, then the chances of injury are increased. So in terms of being excellent with the shot, you've done all of the other technical components of the shot well. Just make sure that those two bones of the forearm align with those two bones. That'll minimize the risk of risk injury, okay? Now, the inevitable, well, what about if it happens on the street? Again, I get this a lot. Look, I'm a simple boxing coach. I coach in the sport of boxing. I'm not a self-defense expert. I'm not a street fighting expert. I'm not an expert in other forms of martial arts. I know there's almost an expectation that because, certainly other scenes do this, because they post a few videos about boxing, all of a sudden you venture into all kinds of other areas. I'm not someone who knows, who is an expert in street fighting. However, one thing I can say, in my opinion, an unprotected human fist on a human skull, okay? I reckon that every punch you throw in a street fight, you can toss a coin as to whether you're going to break your hand. If you're hitting here, I'd say it's around about 50-50 because there's lots of give in the jaw and, you know. For every inch up the skull you travel, the chances of your breaking your hand on that skull increase with each inch up the skull that you go. To the point that if you punch someone square on the top of their head, more or less guaranteed you're going to break your hand. And in fact, if I were restrained and someone was throwing punches at me and I couldn't move or I couldn't pull my hands up to protect my head, what I'd do is tilt my head into the direction of the punch so that the punch would impact on the skull. So again, on the street, as much as I dislike talking about it, my assumption, again, is that the greater the surface area that you land, the more force is spread across that area, and therefore the more likely, or the less likely, you are to damage your hand. If you're thinking about, I'm going to put them there and I'm going to punch that, it feels to me like you're going to do so much fiddling about with the position of your wrist that you're more likely to damage your hand anyway. That's it. I hope that was of use. I just wanted to put something out in response to that particular question. Sign up to the Beginner Boxer Toolkit. It's a book with 7 tools, techniques, sections that will help you guide your journey in boxing, and it will teach you how to build training regimes, some really helpful stuff in there. My name's Fran Sands, and this is myboxingcoach.com.